Today is August the 31st, the last day of Black August. So I hope that all of those who observe the commemoration of Black August, I hope that we all achieved our goals during the month. But let's talk about some news that's coming up out of West Africa, particularly with the Sahel Alliance and ECOWAS. It appears that there has been another attempt to assassinate the young leader, the young president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore. And I think this is like the fifth assassination attempt on his life. Happened a couple weeks ago, but again, they were able to thwart the assassination attempt. There's evidence that France, the former colony, is behind these attacks, behind the attempt to destabilize the government of Burkina Faso and the region itself. You know, recently they've been kicked out of Mali, they've been kicked out of Burkina Faso, and they've also been kicked out of Niger. So we should follow developments over there because, you know, young leaders coming up out of that particular region, they are completely eradicating ties with the old colonial institutions and countries that once held them in bondage. But I did take a couple of notes. Let me just read them real fast. Okay, 5 assassination attempts in 2 years against Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso, which the government says are attempts by the West to destabilize the government and region, carefully constructed operations. So they gave us some of the tactics that are being used against them, and these tactics they're used in every type of coup, but particularly they're being used against Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger currently. And some of those tactics are covert funding. Covert funding, meaning that they're funding secret groups within the government as well as some of the opposition groups in these various countries and regions. They're also using strategic misinformation. This is a good one. Exploitation of divisions. You know, when counterintelligence operations are being waged against you or your organization or your government, one of the key factors into creating instability is the exploitation of internal divisions. We know about that over here in the United States, and we'll get to that. Funding of dissident groups. Orchestrating economic instability through sanctions. Conducting public disinformation designed to turn the public against the leaders and the current government. Infiltration of Traore's inner circle by agent provocateurs, internal as well as external foreign spies. This one particular podcast that I watched in relation to what's going on in Burkina Faso, is like a tongue twister. I don't know why I can't say Burkina. There was this one guy who mentioned a book called Professions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins. And this particular book, from what I understand, was written back in the 1950s. And the book deals with a bank that was formed by the IMF, the CIA, and the American Justice Department. The American State Department. And their goal was to form a bank that would lend money to countries in Africa that had vast natural resources. Once they lended you the money, that was their way of getting into the country and taking over your natural resources. So again, we're going to start analyzing the international arena. You know, we're trying to be international in our thought processes and concepts. But let me get to something else. Now, remember what I just read, some of the tactics that are being used to destabilize African governments currently as well as in the past. And I'm sure they'll use these tactics in the future, and they use these tactics against every government or organization that they try to overthrow. In my own personal life, I mentioned in an earlier video that I have been under attack by the United States government. I've been under attack for a very long time now. I've been quiet about what's happened to me personally, but I can no longer be quiet. It appears that I got more notes that I took, so that's why you hear the in the background. It's me moving my notepad. But it appears that I have been singled out, selected, and singled out for complete destruction by this government. It's been occurring since 2013. The operations, the surveillance is just as intense today in 2024 than what it was back in 2013 once I noticed that, I was under attack. So, I've written a short brief. I have much more extensive notes than what I present here, but this is what I've been able to analyze. I don't know the name of this program, but what I do know is that this program is being coordinated by the United States Justice Department, probably some elements of the military-industrial complex. So these are my notes here on the program as I've been able to analyze it. Covert program targeting undesirables and political opponents of the government. The program is national in scope, meaning it is being coordinated by the U.S. Justice Department under the auspices of the FBI and Homeland Security. All local, state, and federal law enforcement bodies contribute manpower, intelligence, and resources to the survivability and vitality of the program. The design of the program is to target and counterpose those who have been secretly selected for neutralization. Achieving the aims of the program, a myriad of operational implementations are used, most notably intelligence gathering, direct and indirect observations. Let's not forget the tactics that are being used in Africa in order to facilitate coups, instability. Listen to the tactics that I have been able to develop an understanding of that's being used against myself. Most notably, intelligence gathering, direct and indirect observation, wiretaps. Once you are thrown into this program here, you will never know. You'll be wiretapped forever. Your car will be wiretapped. Your home will be wiretapped. You'll be wiretapped and monitored 24 hours a day. You'll never know peace again. Infiltration. That's another tactic that they use. Infiltration. Remember Traore. Development of confidential informants and sources of intelligence. Co-workers, neighbors, associates, and family members will all be used as intelligence gathering assets. Agent provocateurs. That's a heavy one right there. Agent provocateur. The agent provocateur is a trained criminal confidential informant with a direct link to a law enforcement agency or to a primary city or regional agent provocateur who has access to intelligence files and data. Not all agent provocateurs have a criminal history, but all agent provocateurs engage in criminal operations. Let me clarify that. This program is national in scope. They don't have enough agents to surveil and harass people every day all across the country. In order for the aim of the program to be successful, they have to develop troves of confidential informants, sources of intelligence, and agent provocateurs. In my particular situation, and it's, it started in San Francisco, Oakland. Everywhere where I have gone, I have been followed. I have been harassed. Misinformation has been spread about me. Back in the 70s, when the counterintelligence program was exposed, a group of courageous students broke into a sub office. I think it was in Medina, Pennsylvania, and they were able to siege actual files exposing the counterintelligence program. Shortly thereafter that, they had sub-select committee hearings, and allegedly the counterintelligence program was discontinued. But every time they discontinue one program, they just start another program, more secretive than the one before. So this particular program here, if I was to compare it to the counterintelligence program that was started back in the 50s, I would say that this is a surveillance program that's on steroids. We have way better technology than what they had back then. In America, we basically have an apolitical population, nowhere near as politically astute as they were back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, even, the early 80s. We have a population now that's more susceptible to manipulation through various means. Social media. There aren't any real effective political movements out there that's capable of ideologically educating the population. Now, we get most of our information from news media, word of mouth. Back in those days, we had organizations out there. They had newspapers. They frequently held rallies and gatherings and stuff like that. So, you stood a better chance of being politicized back in those days, but not today. But let's move on. Financial degradation. Remember the tactics that they use in coups. They'll throw sanctions against your government. Now, financial degradation. In my own personal life, every job that I've had within the last 10 years, especially as of lately, I have had agents come to the job. They have a meeting with company management, and there goes the job. Since I've been in Memphis, they have become more emboldened with disrupting I'm trying to go to work, trying to earn a living, and agent, FBI agent, Homeland Security agent, they'll slide up inside the business, and once they talk to management, oh, it's on after that. But I'll come back to that in just a second. Believe it or not, I remember I saw an interview by Stokely Carmichael right before he died. Kwame Ture, who was a very active member of the Black Liberation Movement, Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee. He died of prostate cancer. Stokely Carmichael alleges that they gave him prostate cancer. I don't know, but I can tell you that in my own personal situation, standoff weapons. This program utilizes standoff weapons. Okay. Chemical agents, the imposition of various types of invisible gas compounds. The first time they used gas on me, I was on 6th Street in San Francisco. I rented a hotel room. I was in that hotel room maybe 10 minutes, 20 minutes at best. And within 20 minutes, I had gotten so dizzy inside that hotel room that I had to come outside. And when I went downstairs in the hotel lobby, eventually I had to go out into the streets, and I was taken to the hospital. Since that time period, I have been gassed hundreds of times in my home, in my car, at work. I mean, you just name it. So yes, the United States government, under this program, is using chemical agents against its citizens. That's one weapon that they use. And there's so many different types of chemical agents that I've been hit with. I mean, the first time I was hit with gas in San Francisco, it was like a real thick smell, a distinct smell. And by the time you smell it, you're already disoriented. It's already too late. But they have other compounds out there that you cannot smell. You cannot see any of them. And, different gases that they use against you have different effects. Like they have this one particular gas that they hit me with in San Francisco one day in my parole agent's office. I didn't like to go inside the building. I had already been kicked out of the building because, I had a physical confrontation with one of the agent provocateurs inside the building, and I was banned from the building. When I had to go see my probation officer, I had to go around to the San Francisco Police Department, 850 Bryant, where I was gassed in 850 Bryant also. But on this particular occasion, they hit me with a substance, and I want to say that it has like a sweet smell. And by the time you whiff it, it's too late. You're gonna immediately think that you're dying because you're not gonna be able to swallow. I mean, you're gonna be dehydrated instantly. They hit me with that a couple of times. And I'd already been, targeted with various gases, but that was an attack that was, I can't explain it. I mean, I literally thought I was gonna die. You were gonna have absolutely no saliva in your mouth, completely dehydrated. And again, you're gonna think you're dying. Energy-directed weapons. Let's talk about that one. They have the capability to target you anywhere, with handheld devices. You know, what I've personally witnessed is it's a handheld black device. Excuse me. And when it's operational, you can see a red light flashing. And what they do is that, you know, you are the target, and they issue out these little handheld devices to whoever. You know, it could be at work. You know, coworkers been trained to use the device. A neighbor trained to use the device. The average Joe on the street trained to use the device. And when they point it at you, your body immediately begins to sweat. I've been targeted with beams. And, you know, once that beam is, of course you can't see it, of course, but you immediately begin to sweat profusely. And when they target, you know, when you're being targeted, you know, because you're the only one sweating profusely. I've had the occasion to see the device. I never held it, anything like that, but, you know, every now and then, when someone is targeting you, you know, the eye's quicker than the hand. So when you're being targeted, if you know, try to figure out where it's coming from, sometimes you don't know where it's coming from. Again, you can't see. You can't see the, you know, you can't see the you can't see the beam, but you know you're being hit with something. Okay. Microwave weapons. Let's talk about that one. You know, they like to point to the fact that I guess it was some, you know, American State Department personnel that went down to Cuba and they were staying in a hotel. I mean, I don't know where they was at, but they claimed they were, you know, being microwaved. The government does admit that other countries have microwave weapons, but they don't admit that they have microwave weapons over here in America that's being used against American citizens. I can tell you emphatically, microwave weapons exist in various forms. And when you're being targeted, they can target you with various frequencies. In my own personal experience, they've targeted me to such a degree that they'll hit me with that microwave for hours, literally leaving me on the ground screaming. When they first started hitting me with the gas, it just was the gas. But after, you know, a while, they started targeting me with the gas first. And again, some of these gas compounds you cannot smell. So you be done walked into an invisible gas cloud, whether they release it in your house, which that's what they're going to do. Again, you will never know secrecy again. You'll never have peace. They release the gas. In my situation, they release the gas, and then they come with the microwave. So I'm being gassed and microwaved at the same time. And this has been going on for years. When it first started with the microwave, of course I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that I just felt funny, and, you know, my disequilibrium was off and my skin turning red and stuff like that, and, you know, I would have to sit down or eventually pass out. I didn't know what was going on. But then I started doing a little research, and what I came across was that you have people from all different walks of life, all different metropolis areas across the United States. These people don't know one another. They never had a conversation with one another, but they're all reporting the same thing. It's impossible for people who've never had contact with one another. You're not going to find this kind of information on the internet. I mean, it's very, very hard to find. You would have to, they try to hide this type of information, so you have to be looking. You have to dig for this kind of information. I never knew anything about a microwave weapon, anything like that. But once I started being targeted, and again, I've been gassed hundreds of times. I've been microwaved no less than 150 times. once I started being targeted, I started doing my research, and I'm like, man, these people that's complaining about this stuff, these people aren't crazy. Something is going on in this country. Okay, psychological warfare. A lot of the tactics that they use against me is psychological. I have been, the target of so many different psychological type operations. They had me on the ropes when they first started. They had really torn me down psychologically. I was on the ropes, but I was able to come back. So now, the psychological effect isn't as intense as it was, when it first started. I kind of like know what's going on now. So I'm able to, when I'm under attack, I'm able to stay poised. 24-hour surveillance. Once you get into this program, there is no getting out. See, Eric Snowden, he had it right. See, he was able to escape. But most of us in the country, we cannot escape. We are here, and we just have to go through this. So you're under 24-hour surveillance and interdiction. Remember when I was telling you about the confidential informants, the sources of intelligence, and the agent provocateurs? If you are a target, they're going to recruit everyone in your neighborhood. Your neighbor to your right, your neighbor to your left. If you live in an apartment building, a high-rise apartment building, everyone around you is going to be recruited. These people are being paid. There's a large budget for this program here, an extremely large budget. I would say they've spent at least $2 million on me. Just, surveillance and interdiction alone. I mean, you're going to be followed by drones. They have to pay the agents to surveil you. They have to pay the confidential informants. They have to pay the sources of intelligence. These people are being paid. Every time they release that gas in your house, that gas in your car, every time they turn on that microwave weapon, that all costs. The white Cessna planes, the FBI planes that constantly zoom back and forth over your house, that all costs. Fuel, wear and tear on the plane itself. You got to pay the pilot. So they're spending an awful lot of money in this program. They've spent an awful lot of money on me because I've been going through this for 13 years, and it's 24 hours a day. So again, let's go back to the 24-hour surveillance and interdiction. Wiretaps. Everything will be wiretapped. Your car will be wiretapped. You'll have wiretaps surreptitiously placed throughout your house. If you work in a particular area at work, it will be wiretapped. Drones. This program right here, they use drones. They follow me around with drones every day, every night. At nighttime, you can see them moving. This is something you can see. They're not stars in the sky because they're too low to be stars. These are drones. Hidden cameras. Let me tell you something about the hidden cameras. Cameras will be placed inside your vehicle. Cameras will be placed in your home. No matter if you switch phones, phone carrier, phone lines, eventually you'll be wiretapped. They monitor everything you do on your phone. They monitor everything you do on your laptop, on your desktop. They monitor every email account that you have, every social media platform account that you have is being monitored. For me, one of the biggest issues for myself or the confidential informants. Because these people, they're not trained law enforcement personnel. Most of them are petty criminals. They working at the behest of the sheriff department or something like that. And, they're getting a little leniency. But some of these people are very irritating. Very irritating. I'm going through a situation down here in Memphis right now where I was charged with a crime that I did not commit. But I can emphatically tell you that the people that I allegedly committed this offense against, they're agent provocateurs. This stuff started in San Francisco. So the San Francisco Police Department is complicit. The Oakland Police Department is complicit. I call myself, I'm disenfranchised with the Bay Area. Let me go to Los Angeles. I stayed in Los Angeles for a month. They gassed the hell out of me in a hotel down there on Figueroa Street. I walked in the bank one day, downtown Los Angeles. Draw me some funds up out of a bank. And I saw this Hispanic dude, again, the untrained confidential informant. He looked a little too hard, and that's when I knew. I said, oh no, this is not the San Francisco Police Department. This is not Oakland. No, this is the FBI and Homeland Security doing this. They use the same tactics in every city. The same tactics. So that's why I say this program is national in scope. But back to the confidential informants. I might give a agent a pass. I might give the police a pass. I will. I'm not here to challenge authority like that. But the confidential informant is something else. As of lately, and I'm telling you right now, if you're down off inside of the FBI office, I'm telling you, your confidential informants, they're getting a little too bold right now. And y'all know me very well. You're putting these people's lives in danger. You're putting my life in danger. But y'all don't care about them. Y'all care about me. You're trying to get a reaction out of me. You better back your people up. You better back your people up. Because I'm not going to give them the same respect that I would give a law enforcement agent. They better start playing the backfield. Y'all know me well. Y'all know me well. Or so you think you do. But to the people that's living this nightmare, and I'm a political target. They might have people that they put into the program or that they're targeting under various. We know we live in a surveillance society, so they have a lot of programs that they're running right now. But the program that they have me in specifically, this is as worse as it gets. There are different levels to this program. I don't know if everybody's being gassed. I don't know if everybody's being microwaved. I just know my personal experience. But I have identified some major gaps in their program. I'm not going to mention it. I'm not going to mention it at all. When I showed up at home last night, what's that about? You know who I'm talking to. I'm going to say it again. Your confidential informants, they better start playing the background, because if they step into my personal space, it's going to be an issue. If I feel threatened in any kind of way, it's going to be an issue. And the Memphis Police Department is not going to be able to say that they didn't know about it, because I went down there several times and complained. the NPD is well aware of what's going on. So they're not going to be able to say, oh, well, you know, we don't know nothing about all that. Yes, you do. You know exactly what I'm talking about. So, you know, I really didn't, you know, want to make a video like this, but I just thought it was necessary, you know, situation that I'm in right now, to, you know, just bring public awareness to what I'm going through personally and a nightmare that other Americans are living every single day under this program that's being coordinated by the United States Justice Department. But, you know, we're going to get into some more news on another day. I just wanted to get this out there. And again, stay positive, stay safe, and stay learning. I'll be back tomorrow with another video.